We have multiple angles of Donald Trump falling up the stairs of Air Force One after holding an impromptu press briefing on the tarmac in Bedminster, New Jersey. Now, this is the first time Donald Trump has been seen on camera since mobilizing the California National Guard last night against the will of the California Governor Gavin Newsom, against the will of the people, and mobilizing the National Guard for a small, scattered protest is a hugely disproportionate use of force. Now, I'm going to break this down because Donald Trump then stood on the tarmac next to Marco Rubio and gave incredibly unsatisfactory answers to the questions about the National Guard, to the questions about the Insurrection Act, and I never ever want to hear Trump or any other MAGA Republican use the word insurrection after this dude actually made his fans storm the Capitol. All right. We'll break all this down, and we'll get to Trump falling over, trust me, but I want to start with some of the more important issues, such as the National Guard being mobilized and maybe the bill. Check out this clip of Trump talking about an insurrection.
Do you foresee those protests spreading to other cities, Chicago, New York, for example, in the next few days?
We're going to be watching it very closely, and when they spit at people, you know, they spit, that's their new thing, they spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing.
What a weird answer to the question.
Get up to them this far away, and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard. What are the rules of engagement for federal troops? We'll see what happens. If we think there's a serious insurrection or less than that, we're going to have law and order. Very important.
How would you define an insurrection?
You have to really just have to look at the site. You have to see what's happening. Last night...
He's such an idiot. The dude asked him, how would you define an insurrection? And he said, you just have to look and see what's happening. Donald Trump should know exactly what an insurrection is. He caused the last one. He tried in 10 different extra-legal ways to pressure election officials into overturning election results in Georgia, in Arizona, and other swing states. Then, after none of that worked, he held a rally, walking distance from the Capitol, and basically just riled up the entire crowd. The crowd walks over, storms the Capitol at the exact same date and same time. I'm sorry to rehash all of this. You know, I'm not sorry. We have a nearly senile, cognitively declining president who doesn't know what an insurrection is, who falls up the stairs, who I'm pretty sure cannot read. You know, I want to connect this in because we have a lot of reports that Trump hasn't been doing his daily presidential briefings. You know, the briefings full of highly sensitive material that, you know, key him in on global and domestic matters so he's prepared and has the tools at his disposal to deal with them. Well, he doesn't have the tools, he's not prepared, and it's a function of him not going to any of his presidential daily briefings. He went to 12 out of the first 100 days. And now we have reports that Trump could get Fox News-style intel briefings because he, quote, doesn't read. We don't even know if he knows how to read. He has other people type out his Truth Social posts. And you know, I'm sure to some extent Trump can read and sound out words. We've seen him do it on teleprompters. But he still sounds out words, as I said. President Donald Trump's National Intelligence Director, Tulsi Gabbard, is looking for ways to change the president's intelligence briefings to align with his media consumption habits because he's such an old, withering idiot that he only watches Fox News. Here's Donald Trump again talking about the Insurrection Act.
California, are you prepared to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Depends on whether or not there's an insurrection.
Do you believe there is?
No, but you have violent people. And we're not going to let him get away with it.
You know, watching Donald Trump fall down the staircase, not only from one angle, but we have multiple angles. Watch this. Then he trips. It really paints a picture of somebody who's getting absolutely rolled by Vladimir Putin. We have this old-ass commander-in-chief, and as a function of his age, every time he hops on the phone call with another authoritarian leader, he gets rolled by them. And I don't mean to deflect this from Trump's age over to Russia, but I think they're combined. I think every single time Trump engages with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, number one, he's like psychologically compromised. Number two, Vladimir Putin is obviously much sharper, much quicker on his feet. And I would say that's a function of Donald Trump obviously being uneducated, but also declining, very, very clearly declining. Watch this man slipping up on his way. Boom. He falls, And you know what? Just to zoom out, I have a feeling Trump in the back of his head went, oh shit. Oh shit. I bet the camera saw that. This dude has zero self-awareness whatsoever, but what he does understand is how he generally comes across on camera. And a lot of the times when he does the unhinged act, he knows he's doing the unhinged act. A lot of the times he knows how he comes across. So there's a reality where Trump was incredibly embarrassed about this. And he might even post about it if we blow this up enough. Make sure you drop a like and make sure you spam some blue hearts, because if we blow this up enough, and it's like a huge story, I bet you we get a post from him saying, Sleepy Joe Biden used to fall every day and I fall one time. Also, I'm not in the Epstein files. Also, Russia is not rolling me. This says, Gabbard has apparently consulted current and former intelligence officials for solutions. One possibility would be to turn the briefings into videos styled after Fox News. So our president can only consume information if it's in the form of Fox News propaganda, because he doesn't read, because he's uneducated, and honestly, a president that only consumes Fox News, it actually makes sense why he's so appealing to the broad swath of the country that only watches Fox News. Imagine getting all of your information from Sean Hannity and Jesse Waters, and used to be Tucker Carlson, and then you see Trump out there and he's regurgitating the same Fox News talking points. You're going to think this guy is brilliant. It only confirms your worldview. And in reality, he has no clue what he's talking about. The president's daily brief is currently a daily digital document containing texts, graphics, and images. In order to carry out this new approach, the National Intelligence Director's Office could even hire one of Fox News' talking heads and one of the network's producers. Gabbard herself was a paid contributor to the network. Trump has received the PDB, which can influence the president's decisions, just 14 times since he took office, according to his public schedule. It's called the Daily Briefing. This is absolutely insane. He had received the briefing 55 times during this same time in 2017. President Joe Biden had received 90 presidential daily briefings by this time, meaning he did them actually every day so he could make informed, calculated decisions that aren't swayed by Fox News, aren't swayed by cognitive decline. I mean, what if Trump was actually reading about the relentless bombs that Russia was dropping on Ukraine? Maybe it would change his opinion a bit. Maybe he wouldn't be so one-sided with this war. I want to end this video by highlighting all of the stuff going on right now. While yes, Donald Trump is cognitively declining, yes, it is important to talk about him falling over as the president of the United States, there's also the big ugly bill that is making its way through the Senate. We also have Elon Musk accusing him of the Epstein list. He's trying to sweep that under the rug and possibly distract it by mobilizing the National Guard. But that in and of itself isn't a distraction. That is a key issue as well. While all of this happens, we have trade deals falling through with every country on the planet, basically, because Trump, for some reason, decided to start a war with the world on trade. At the same time, we have peace deals that are falling through. Israel will not stop striking Gaza. At the same time, Russia will not stop striking Ukraine. Ukraine is beginning to retaliate because Trump has proven to be ineffective. And even the peace deal, I say that loosely, that he negotiated between India and Pakistan immediately fell through. He's inefficient, he's old, and I'll leave it at that. If you appreciate the work we do, drop a like, subscribe. I love you all.